Okay, welcome back. My name's Alexa. I'm from Simple Roots Wellness. Today I wanted to do a short video because I'm going to challenge you and myself to do a plastic-free September. Now, I know that there are lots of reasons to go plastic-free, from health reasons to environmental reasons, and the more I've been prepping for this challenge, the more I realize that plastic is literally everywhere. So I'm gonna take this challenge with a grain of salt, and I'm gonna mostly take in account the things that I consume food with. Like the plastic that touches food, I'm going to try to limit or avoid. And like I said, this is not in any means going to be perfect, but there are a lot of health implications, like I mentioned, to plastic. Some of them being that plastic is a carcinogen, it gets in our bloodstream and it can cause toxicity, and it's just another thing that our body has to filter. Plus, it mimics hormones. There's a lot of scientific jargon when it comes to this hormone mimicry and what plastics are doing to our hormones, but it is quite concerning. And I definitely think that if you're someone who just wants to take health to another level, or you need to balance your hormones are kind of out of whack, or you just want to take the preventative steps to just live a healthier life, working on getting rid of plastic is really a huge step. Sometimes it's even more important than the food that we eat and what we do, right? Some of these lifestyle changes are just as critical, and I think plastic is one of those. Now, like I mentioned, plastic is literally everywhere, and I totally understand that. I think it's really hard to avoid fully, but I do believe that there are some tricks and tips that I can give you to make it helpful. And like everything else in life, I just believe in the simplicity of it. So when it comes to your kitchen and when it comes to cooking, the less stuff you have in your kitchen to use, I think the better off you are. Like, we don't need all these fancy gadgets and bowls for every different kind of dish, right? We just need a few bowls for mixing and serving, some for storage and taking in lunch boxes, something to drink out of, to cut on. So we're just gonna kind of go through the list, and I think what you'll find is that as you make these slow changes, it's actually easier to give up plastic, at least in your own home, than you once realized. I also know the expense can be overwhelming too. So below this video, I'm gonna be sharing some of my favorite products on a budget, right? Like, these are inexpensive products that I just slowly bought over time to replace the plastic options in my home. And I'm just gonna list out the basics of what my kitchen is filled with. And this is outside of like our typical ceramic plates and bowls and our stainless steel silverware, right? This is outside of that. So this is all the other stuff that I use. It's pretty basic, like I said, pretty inexpensive, nothing fancy, and I hope it's helpful. So like I said, you can get all the resources for this below and start to process through making your kitchen plastic free. I promise you, there are health benefits to this. Plus, the glass stuff just lasts so much longer. Okay, so to start with, I think one of the most critical things when it comes to giving up plastic is water bottles or any kind of drinking utensil. And the reason I say this is because we drink out of plastic probably more than we consume food out of it. Not to mention that drink, if it's been heated at all, like sitting in the sun or a warehouse, that plastic and the type of plastic that's often found in water bottles actually leaches into the water, and it causes BPA and other plastic chemicals to get into our bloodstream. They found that plastic water bottles, like the plastic in the water of a plastic water bottle, the parts per million of that plastic is 10-fold higher than just what's in our tap water. I mean, it's real that the plastic is leaching into our drink, whether it's water or some kind of flavored water or pop or whatever it is. So I think the first thing that you should change out is just investing in either a glass or a stainless steel water bottle. So if you do nothing else today, it's pick up one of these, because you're constantly drinking, right, all day long. And I know that it's so easy to just drink out of a to-go cup, or it's easy to just grab a bottle of something to drink. But my challenge to you, especially if you want to do nothing else in September, is just to try to consume the majority of your beverages from a glass or a stainless steel bottle or cup or whatever it is. These two I've had forever and I love them. This is a Life Factory bottle. Like I said, I'm gonna list it below. There are tons of different options out there. And this, I love shaker bottles because I can put a smoothie in it, or I can put drink mixes in it, whatever I want that I can just shake and they lock or secure really nicely so I can throw it in a bag and I know it's not gonna leak. So this is just a stainless steel shaker bottle that I love. So the first tip is to change out your water bottle. The next tip I wanna give you is food storage. So plastic Tupperware is a really common food storage mechanism. So is Ziploc bags, just plastic. And I know that they're light and they seem convenient and easy to take, but that plastic, again, in that Tupperware container is especially dangerous for our bodies, especially if it's been heated. So I would suggest the next thing after the water bottle that I would invest in is some kind of glass, like Pyrex storage bowls. I also got these stainless steel bowls that are great for packing lunches. These are from Mira brands. I really love them. They're so easy for my kids to use and they stack nicely. So there's a bunch of different sizes of these. I like these for lunches, especially because you're not as prone to drop a glass bowl and maybe break it. Not to say that that's ever happened, but I definitely wouldn't send these to school with my kids because of the fear that they would drop it and break it. So that's why I got these stainless steel bowls. They're lightweight and they're easy, like I said, to use. So if you're gonna put food in something to take with you and it doesn't work inside of what my next tip is gonna be, like a silicone Ziploc bag, definitely invest in some kind of glass or stainless steel bowl, especially if you travel or you take your work or your lunch to work or school. Those are great options. But just at home, I have had this Pyrex set no less than 5 years. It comes in a lot of different shapes and sizes. It doesn't even have to be Pyrex, but just some kind of glass container that you can store food in. So if you don't have this and you don't have the money to invest in this, which a good set is probably between $20 and $30. I think the one I listed below is just over $25. Definitely reasonable and worth it, especially for the longevity of it. But if you don't and you just have plastic, here are some tips. Never put hot food in plastic. Always let it cool to room temperature, then add it to the plastic container and then put it in your refrigerator for storage. The second thing is never heat up food in a plastic container. So if you have it stored in a plastic container, take it out and put it on some kind of ceramic plate or in some kind of other glass bowl and then reheat it. But don't heat in plastic. Heating plastic is one of the best ways to leach those chemicals, besides for like crumpling it. Obviously that leaches chemicals, but heating plastic, you know, when it becomes like slightly moldable, that is a really dangerous place for plastic to be. So getting away from those, like I said, an easy Pyrex thing, or if you're on the go or want to pack healthy lunches, stainless steel set is so great. And like I said, this stuff is going to last forever. Now I do know that the lids are plastic. Like I totally understand that. I think it's really hard to go outside of that. I've never personally found a set other than glass jars that don't have these lids. So again, I think this is great. Just wait to put it on until the food has cooled and then put it in your refrigerator. And definitely if you're reheating, don't heat with the lid on. So just use it as storage. Most often the food's not gonna come in a lot of contact with the lid, and that's great. So that's the second thing that I would do. And if you can do both, fantastic. The third thing is that for packing lunches, we got these silicone stasher bags. This is what they're called. I've heard great reviews on them. These are new to our home, but so far from the little bit that I've used them, I really do love them. This is considered the sandwich one. It's quite large. I definitely, for my kids' lunch, could have just gotten the smaller size, but this is great to store other things in the refrigerator. I've stored berries and some lettuces in this. Just again, something that you can use, and then to wash it, you just wash it, hand wash it, or you can put it in the dishwasher, and then you just flip it inside out to dry. So far my kids have used these and love these. I'll give you an update, but there are lots, again, different kinds of reusable Ziploc bags, whether it's fabric or paper. I really do have so far like the stasher bags and read great reviews. So that's for lunchbox. Another lunchbox item for taking soups or warm foods, again, is this stainless steel thermos. We only have like 1 or 2 thermoses at home because we only use them occasionally, whether I take a soup with me when I'm out and about, or my kids want to take something warm to school. This is from Mira brands again, and it has kind of like a a silicone outside, but it's all stainless steel on the inside. And it's so nice and heavy duty, and it's definitely worth the investment if you take warm foods to work or pack them in your kids' lunch. So that's another option. And then I want to move on to some utensils that you might use at home in the kitchen. Another place that I see so many people using plastic is plastic cutting boards. And this seems safe and it seems like a great option, but every time again you score that plastic, you're releasing those plastic particles into the food that you're cutting. So I always go back to, I think wood is the best. It's actually one of the safest surfaces also, cleanliness wise. And so a solid wood cutting board, I think is the way to go. You don't need a cutting board for your meats versus your vegetables. You just have to clean it well. And like I said, things don't like to grow on stainless steel or wood as well as a plastic cutting board. So it actually is gonna stay cleaner, and it's gonna be a lot easier on your knife set as well. So a good solid wood cutting board is really critical, at least in this house. And then glass mixing bowls. People mix a lot of food in plastic bowls. Just having a set of different sizes. Again, this is just a Pyrex set of mixing bowls. These all came with lids too. But I try to mix in glass or stainless steel bowls, and that's what we use in our house. Mixing food at room temperature probably isn't going to stir up a lot of plastic particles, but just to get into the habit of just having less plastic in your home, I think this is great. Plus, again, they just last so long, and you can put them in the dishwasher and they just wash so well. And the last thing that I find, even in myself, was a plastic colander. And I think it's just funny because how often do we take a pot of boiling noodles or something and we dump it into a plastic colander when the water is boiling hot to drain it? I did this the other day and I was like, oh, just another source of plastic, right? I do have, this is just a stainless steel one. It's just bigger than I normally would use, so I don't pull it out a lot, but I think I'm gonna invest in a little bit smaller of the stainless steel colander, and I think it'll be great. So that's another place that I just recognized the other day in my own home that we're still using plastic. So like I said, this isn't perfect. We still have some plastic stuff around here. We have a plastic shaker bottle. Some of my kids' water bottles that they like to take to school are plastic. Most often I'm trying to send them with stainless steel though, but it's just a slow progression. And so while I'm saying plastic-free September, what I really want you to focus on is how can I consume less food and use less plastic in general in the month of September? And I think these challenges are good, not to say that they have to be perfect or all or none, but just simply because it helps get us in new habits and just be more aware of where we are using these things. Now, I have seen some pretty awesome testimonials from people who just gave up plastic in their life, from getting their period back to increasing their fertility, just better regulation of hormones, some weight loss. Plastic in some people is really, it's damaging in everyone, but some people's bodies is just so built up on these toxins, and reducing that can just, again, help reset your body. So I am a big proponent of giving up plastic, and like I said, it's also great for the environment, and it makes packing lunches so easy. So just some quick tips across the board. Also, one last thing that I didn't have out to show you, but I use mason jars a ton. And we just use the stainless steel lids, or I do buy the plastic lids, which are all linked below. But mason jars are so great for storing food items. Or here, let me just pull one out. Pantry items. So I just have big glass jars that I store all my pantry staples in. These are super inexpensive. And then I have mason jars, and we put homemade juice in those. We put soups that we can store in those as well. Just so many things are great to just store in those and then dump out to reheat. So that's my little tips on plastic-free kitchenware. Start slow, start with the drinks, move to food storage containers, and then maybe go to a cutting board, mixing bowls, and a colander. Whatever works for you, just start to pay attention to where you have plastic, recycle it, get rid of it, and then just start committing to buying glass or stainless steel. Those are your best options. Of course, ceramic works too. But just keep going with this, keep learning, and just one step in front of the other. It's a simple little changes. Don't let it overwhelm you, but just start somewhere. That's my hope with this, is that you can start somewhere. Don't forget, all the resources that I have used and loved are below, and I think they're really economical, so definitely budget friendly. Check all those out below and let me know what you think. How has transitioning your own kitchen to plastic-free gone? Where do you still find yourself struggling in the plastic world? And let's work together to come up with more creative solutions to getting rid of as much plastic as we can from our life and going back to the simple and the natural. Thank you so much for tuning in to this video. I hope that it was helpful. It gives you a great starting point, and trust me, more videos are coming, so stay tuned and have a great day.